Story of Da Vinci, whose book was sold in 31 million US dollars. If you write 30802500 in Google search, you'll find Codex Leicester on top of search pages. It is the name of a remarkable book, often referred to as a book of the future, purchased by Bill Gates in 1994 for US dollars $30.80 million. This single book is said to hold insights into the future of science, education and technology. Astonishingly, it was written 500 years ago by Leonardo da Vinci, a polymath, someone skilled in multiple disciplines. Da Vinci created 240 sketches of the human body, remarkably accurate compared to modern science. Despite the absence of X-rays in his era, his curiosity led him to study anatomy by exhuming and dissecting bodies from graveyards. His sketches, which match modern scientific accuracy, are celebrated even today. He was also an unparalleled inventor. Remember the chariot of Dev from Bahubali? Da Vinci conceptualized a similar design. Centuries earlier, he envisioned the layout of cities from a bird's-eye perspective, an impossible feat at a time with no satellites, drones or airplanes. His map of Italy from the 16th century aligns with satellite images today, showcasing his unmatched imagination. Da Vinci's contributions extended to military technology. He designed a 33-barreled organ that could fire simultaneously, a precursor to advanced weaponry. His sketches included the prototype of a tank and even designs resembling helicopters, 500 years before their actual invention. Though technological limitations of his time prevented these ideas from materializing, they demonstrate his visionary genius. He also designed a flying machine inspired by birds, observing their flight, frame by frame to create accurate models. Sébastien Lenormand is credited with inventing the parachute, but Vinci conceptualized it centuries earlier. In 2000, André Nicolas tested a parachute based on Vinci's sketches, successfully jumping from 10,000 feet without safety gear, validating Vinci's designs. Da Vinci's artistic achievements are equally profound. He spent 14 years perfecting the Mona Lisa, using a brush finer than a single hair. While interpretations of the painting vary, its enigmatic expression continues to captivate viewers. Another masterpiece, The Last Supper, depicts Jesus dining with his disciples before his crucifixion. Interestingly, superimposing and flipping this painting digitally reveals hidden images, showcasing Vinci's intricate artistry. The Codex Leicester includes answers to questions like why the sky is blue and how birds can fly for extended periods. Topics Vinci explored centuries ahead of his time. This book, valued at 50 crore rupees during its purchase, encapsulates Vinci's contributions to art, science and technology, offering timeless lessons. Walter Isaacson's book on Leonardo da Vinci reveals his secrets of observation. Da Vinci's observational skills shaped his mastery across fields, emphasizing the importance of deeply analyzing and documenting every detail. For aspiring learners, whether in architecture, data science or coding, Vinci's logical and practical approach remains a blueprint for innovation and excellence. In modern contexts such as Newton School, where challenges like 100 days of code push students to build projects daily, the emphasis on hands-on learning mirrors Vinci's philosophy. Observing, documenting and applying insights remain the cornerstone of growth across disciplines. The third step involves experimenting. Start by listing each problem one at a time and note down his reaction or your thoughts on it. Doing this helps embed it in your mind. While you're not consciously working, your mind processes it in the background. Often solutions or ideas that were elusive appear after a couple of days. This happens because your mind keeps analyzing in the background. Keep experimenting, writing down your observations and revisiting them later. New insights emerge when you re-engage with the problem. Now moving to the second point, let's discuss Vinci's thoughts. Here are 7 profound lines. Listen carefully. He who wants to become rich in a day will be hanged in a year. Courage and fear both have risks, but fear protects us. The brain doesn't tire. Even after learning for 24 hours straight, time lasts longer for those who use it. A life spent beautifully feels long. Willingness to work isn't enough. Results matter. Nature never breaks its rules. Each of these lines carries immense depth. Everyone has unique potential, yet many fail to utilize it fully. Vinci emphasizes that our mind is weak, it seeks comfort and resists challenges. It tells us to give up asking why bother, but Vinci advises humor during tough times, taking setbacks lightly and persisting with courage helps overcome difficulties. Now Vinci's interconnected theory. He believed everything in the world is beautifully connected. His journals contain a mix of science, art and philosophy, showing how similarities exist in diverse things, for example the resemblance between lungs and trees, neurons and city maps, or walnuts and brains. Observing such connections trains the mind to think differently. By combining unrelated ideas, remarkable innovations emerge. Vinci advised creatives not to work on projects continuously. Taking breaks shifts perspective, helping you spot flaws and improve. Lastly, geniuses share an undying curiosity. It's not talent or education, but the drive to question and explore that fuels extraordinary achievements. Curiosity bridges where you are now to where you want to be. Asking and answering questions drives action. If you want to harness this, consider reading Reinvent Yourself, a book designed to help you master self-discovery and change your life. It's affordable and easy to download. Leonardo da Vinci, born on April 15, 1452, in the village of Anciano near Vinci, Italy, stands as a figure who evokes both awe and controversy in equal measure. His mother Caterina was a peasant, while his father, Ser Piero da Vinci, was a notary. This illegitimate birth, far from being a deterrent, seemed to imbue Leonardo with a unique perspective that would shape his astonishing career. He had no legitimate siblings, but a sprawling array of half-brothers and sisters through his father's subsequent marriages. This dynamic family situation would later create legal wrangling over inheritance rights, a theme that punctuated Leonardo's life even after his death. Leonardo's early years were marked by curiosity, rather than formal education. He lacked a classical education, which was common for someone of his father's standing. However, this did not hinder him. Apprenticed in Florence to Andrea del Verrocchio, he was exposed to a world of artistic innovation and intellectual ferment. It is said that Verrocchio stopped painting after witnessing Leonardo's Angel and the Baptism of Christ, tale that underscores the young artist's immense talent but is steeped in anecdotal embellishment rather than concrete fact. Leonardo's personal life remains shrouded in mystery. While he never married and had no known children, speculation abounds about his sexual orientation. Arrest records from 1476 indicate accusations of sodomy, a serious charge in Renaissance Florence, though these were dismissed due to lack of evidence. Some have interpreted his close relationships with young male apprentices such as Gian Giacomo Caprotti, nicknamed Salai, as suggestive of deeper bonds, but definitive evidence remains elusive. Salai, troublemaker known for stealing from Leonardo, nonetheless became a long-term companion and muse. Contrary to the image of a revered artist living in opulence, Leonardo often struggled financially. Despite creating works like The Last Supper and Mona Lisa, his income was sporadic. He frequently moved between patrons, including Ludovico Sforza in Milan, Cesare Borgia, and later, King Francis I of France. His lack of financial stability stemmed partly from his insatiable curiosity, which led him to abandon commissions in favor of pursuing scientific experiments and mechanical designs. Unlike contemporaries such as Michelangelo, who focused intensely on their craft, Leonardo scattered his energies across anatomy, engineering, botany, and even urban planning. The sheer breadth of Leonardo's interests was both a strength and a weakness. His notebooks, filled with intricate sketches and backward script musings, reveal an intellect that delved into topics as varied as the flight of birds, the flow of water, and human anatomy. These notebooks, many of which were lost or fragmented over time, remain a treasure trove of innovation. In his anatomical studies, he dissected over 30 human cadavers, producing diagrams of unparalleled accuracy, yet his scientific pursuits often went unpublished, diminishing their immediate impact. Leonardo's personality has been described in conflicting terms. Some accounts paint him as gentle and generous, while others suggest he could be aloof and exasperated by mediocrity. His reluctance to share or complete his work frustrated patrons and peers alike. While his polymathic genius set him apart, it also isolated him. Leonardo was not a harsh or abusive individual by most accounts, but his perfectionism and secretive tendencies often alienated those around him. Transportation in Leonardo's time was rudimentary, but he traveled extensively, from the Italian city-states to France in his later years. He likely journeyed by horse or carriage and occasionally by waterways. These travels were often in service of patrons who sought his skills as an artist, engineer, or military strategist. His designs for flying machines and armored vehicles underscore a mind that dreamt of transcending the limitations of his era, though these inventions were rarely built. In his personal habits, Leonardo was meticulous. He was a vegetarian, a rarity in his time, and displayed an unusual compassion for animals, reportedly purchasing caged birds to set them free. He lived modestly despite his association with wealthy patrons. His homes were functional rather than lavish, and there is little evidence to suggest he indulged in the excesses of Renaissance aristocracy. Leonardo died on May 2, 1519 in Amboise, France, in the residence provided by King Francis I, who regarded him with deep admiration. The circumstances of his death were peaceful, likely caused by a stroke. His burial site at the Chapel of St. Hubert in Amboise remains a point of historical interest. Leonardo left behind a modest estate, including his manuscripts and tools, bequeathed primarily to his loyal apprentice, Francesco Melzi. The bitter inheritance disputes among his half-siblings reflect a lifelong theme of fractured familial ties. Leonardo's legacy is as polarizing as it is monumental. 5. Lesser-known aspects of his life paint a more nuanced picture. Negatives. Leonardo's perfectionism often resulted in unfinished projects, leaving patrons dissatisfied and earning him a reputation for unreliability. He was accused of being secretive to the point of paranoia, refusing to share his discoveries even with close collaborators. Despite his genius, many of his mechanical designs were impractical or ahead of their time, rendering them useless in his era. His obsession with anatomy led him to procure cadavers under questionable circumstances, raising ethical concerns even then. Leonardo's focus on theoretical pursuits over tangible output limited his influence during his lifetime compared to contemporaries. Positives. He championed compassion for animals, abstaining from meat and advocating for humane treatment centuries ahead of his time. His interdisciplinary approach laid the groundwork for modern fields like biomechanics and aeronautics. Leonardo's artistic innovations, particularly his use of sfumato, revolutionized painting techniques. His notebooks, though unpublished in his lifetime, have inspired countless inventors and scientists. His willingness to challenge religious dogma through science and observation marked him as a pioneer of empirical inquiry. Leonardo's life story is not one of unblemished greatness but a tapestry of brilliance, flaws and contradictions. He remains a figure who defies simplification, embodying the boundless curiosity and restless spirit of the Renaissance. The wealth he accumulated was modest compared to his contributions, and it is his intellectual and artistic heritage, rather than material riches, that continues to captivate the world. Among the documentaries and films exploring his life, 5 stand out. Leonardo da Vinci, The Universal Man, BBC, Inside the Mind of Leonardo, National Geographic, Da Vinci and the Code He Lived By, History Channel. Leonardo, The Man Who Saved Science, PBS, and the Italian drama I.O. Leonardo. These productions illuminate the enigma of a man whose influence transcends time and space. Leonardo da Vinci's story, replete with paradoxes, inspires not because he was perfect but because he was profoundly human, a genius perpetually in search of truth and beauty, even at the expense of his own comfort and reputation. In his life's unfinished sketches, we find a mirror to our own aspirations and limitations, a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge is both an achievement and a challenge without end.